everyone. This is James Colburn here with another episode of Real Live Fridays. And this week I've got the special opportunity of introducing a friend of mine, a new friend of mine, Austin Schneider. Welcome to the stage, Austin. Austin's up in the Seattle area, although he's secretly, he's engaged to someone from San Diego, right? And that loves San Diego and would love nothing more than for him to move his entire company down to San Diego someday. So we might see him down here at some point. But Austin's got a really interesting story, really interesting, like kind of almost, I'm going to call it rags to riches, actually, when it comes to like starting out in a kind of a really kind of a rough childhood. Went into real estate, massive entrepreneur guy, lots of believers in Austin's life. And then to start a highly successful branding company, video production company, with one of his key clients being real estate agents. Tips, tricks, right? Interesting kind of inspiration in terms of getting out of our own way, right? Finding mentors and people that can kind of lead the path or that we can follow that have gone before. And I just want to introduce Austin Schneider to Windermere Homes and Estates today. Austin, thanks for joining us.
James, thanks for having me on. And hopefully the next few minutes can provide some value and inspire some people and get people fired up. So thanks for having me on.
First of all, I've watched so many of your podcasts over the years, and you've interviewed a lot of people I know. And there's one thing about you is that you inspire me to smile when I talk. Like, you are so good at that, right? Like, you are awesome. You got a face for TV, actually, not radio.
Thanks,
right?
Man.
So thank you. Thanks for joining us today. And Austin, take us back. Take us all the way back. Like the story you told me, childhood kind of stuff, and the young boy that Austin was.
Yeah, man. So grew up in Woodinville, Washington. And really what I knew growing up was that we wake up, we go to work for 8 hours, and we come home and we turn on the TV and crack a beer. And that's the Monday through Friday, right? So never really knew much more beyond the fact that you work to live. And then once Friday comes around, then you go to happy hour, and that's the life. So that's what I saw my family go through. That's what I kind of experienced growing up. So that's what I thought my normal was going to be like. So when I was 13, parents divorced, unfortunately, kind of spun everything for a loop. I was an athlete growing up. So that was kind of my purpose and my drive. But again, just really growing up, I thought, I'm going to be a construction worker. I'm going to work a good job, 9 to 5. And that's really, really my life. That also didn't tie me to a bigger purpose, right? Like I just thought I was going to go to work. So I think that really drove me to hang around the wrong people and also get into alcohol and start drinking when I was 15 and smoking weed and doing all the things, and really had no direction for really till I was about 18, 19 years old. And like coming up to just really thinking that I'm going to drink all the time and be a construction worker and retire when I'm 60. That's really what I thought I knew, until I kind of had a little realization when I was about 18, 19 years old, when I was up in a college town living with 5 friends. And literally all we would do is sit around, smoke weed. I wouldn't go to school because my parents couldn't afford it. My mom was bankrupt when I was 17. My brother had a drug addiction. My dad also paycheck to paycheck. So I wasn't really equipped to go to university, to go to school. I just wanted to live with some friends and hang out. So after a quarter of trying to go to school, which was like a class a quarter, I was like, I can't do this, and ended up leaving that college town, moved back in with my dad, and found actually a purpose to want to be a police officer. And when I was going for a police officer, I was also really inspired by the military and wanting to go into the military. That gave me what I think fired me up for a little bit of discipline. And I had a mentor at that time who was also a police officer, who was my old baseball coach, who was like, hey man, like you gotta get your act together, you gotta do X, you gotta do Y. Military could be a great option. Almost signed up to be in the military, but knew I had some time margin. So I just worked when I was gearing up to go in to be a police officer, and then started working in a call center, and was also working another job on the weekend selling Zip Biz. I was at the booth giving people free samples and stuff like that, talking about the great product that Zip Biz was. And then started working in the call center and met the founder of the company, who ran this 300, 500 person company, and had a high level of humility. But what was also really inspiring is that his story was very similar to mine. He didn't go to school. His parents were divorced. He didn't really have a relationship with his family. And I was like, man, and look where he's at now. And he was the one person that was like, Austin, you can do way more than you think you're capable of. Because I was just like, oh, I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to do military. I'm going to retire when I'm 60 because that's a fast track to retirement, good benefits, blah, 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 blah. Whereas Gary Rubens on the other side was very similar upbringing to me, yet he was successful in his own means and very fulfilled in many ways. So that really kind of kicked off my journey of discipline and seeing within myself and reading and figuring out that there's really more to life than what I thought there was.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's crazy. I mean, you and I talked about this, but these people come into our lives, and and you probably come into people's lives that you don't even know the impact you've made now, right? Mm-hmm. So it's amazing how all of us kind of hold that opportunity. And I think you told me you were able to go back and let this individual know that his belief in you was so impactful.
Several times. Yeah. Like he's still a great friend of mine and mentor. We just got coffee. We travel all the time together. But I mean, without him, who knows? But for anybody listening or watching, I mean, having a mentor, having somebody who can sharpen you, who can expand your really belief in yourself is paramount. And the beauty about today's age is there's podcasts, there's books, there's YouTube, there's so many virtual mentors that we can just literally go to YouTube, go to Spotify, find someone who you aspire to be like, and then that knowledge, that belief starts to rub off on you. That's why it's so, like, even going to live events, like you start to believe in yourself more, and the more you believe, you start to expand and see bigger things, and your vision starts to get larger. And then it's up to us to actually take the action and execute on it. But it all starts with the belief. And I feel getting a mentor, whether that's in person or virtual, is someone or something that actually is going to springboard you into what you're capable of. Because we have that governor on our brain. It's a real thing. We have a governor on our brain where we think we can only do so much, but really we can do exceptionally more than we think we are capable of doing. And I'm really inspired to unlock that in other people, because that was unlocked in me, and I'm just still getting going. I'm young. I'm ready to get after it. So
yeah. It reminds me, one of my mentors was actually, and this, everyone's going to laugh, was my barber. I would go in and get flat tops, and he would tell me like all this wisdom, right? And he used to be a boxer, and he would actually name every bone on my head and all this stuff. But I remember contacting him years later, like 15 years later, when I was, had moved away from California at that point, and found him in the white pages, actually, for those of you who know what that is, and just thanked him. And so, this isn't, when you say mentor, it's also just, it's not someone you hire, it's someone that just kind of arrives into your life. I think those opportunities are delivered to us, actually, or served up to us if we just open up our eyes.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, wow. So that was just a praise the Lord there, right? So
I like it.
But I just appreciate that so much. So Austin, you went into real estate. Tell us a little bit about that path for you.
Yeah. So my mom actually was in real estate. She got into real estate. Well, she worked for a little while, and then kind of was the late career, I'm going to give this real estate thing a shot. So unfortunately, she started in about 2007.
Oh,
So
unfortunately, yeah, exactly.
yeah, right when the crash happened, she had no book of business. She was just trying to figure it out and wanted to create a new career for herself. And she was supporting the family. So
Yeah.
that's really where it started for me, was seeing her one, but I saw her fail. Like that's the moment where she actually filed bankruptcy, had to work 2 jobs, had to move in to Idaho with her parents, and take my brother with them and take care of my grandma at the time. So that was ill-inspiring, but that's what kind of got me interested in it in the first place. So to fast track, so I was working at that company that Gary founded, and then I started working at a TV station up here, an NBC affiliate, doing ad sales. So basically I would call companies and I would say, hey, are you interested in TV? King 5 has some awesome products. Like, let's meet. So I did that for about 3 years. And that was a sales role that really inspired me to get into entrepreneurship, because it's very entrepreneurship. It was 100% commission. Like you eat what you kill. You had to get after it. And I was like, man, if I can do this for TV, like I can do much more. So again, met more people in real estate, met some mentors who were successful in real estate. And I was like, I should give this a shot, because I'm young and I want to do it. And I feel like I know marketing, because I would always study marketing so I could serve the clients at King 5. So eventually, after 3 years at King 5, quit my job and got into real estate at Sotheby's up here, and was really young and just started getting after it. And I think what's funny is, or fun, kind of also to tie back to where I'm at now, is, I did everything that I thought I should have done, which was get the red book, the real estate Bible, and knock on doors, cold call everybody, like do all that kind of stuff. And that didn't work for me. Like, it was not the reason that I got into real estate. And I'm sure a lot of people here watching or listening are in real estate for the relationships. They're in it to help people out. They're in it to provide value. And if you do that, sales will come. So I kind of did that for the first 3-6 months and was just grinding and did not really like it. And then kind of came over me like, my friends are on social media. Everybody I know is on social media. 80% of Americans are spending almost 3 hours a day. I'm going to hit social media really hard and start posting and create content and do photos and do videos. So I did that. And that's really where I started to see success, where like I was getting listings from Instagram and LinkedIn. I was getting like buyers online through social media, which was pretty unheard of at the time. And people kept asking me for help, like, how do you do it? And that's how I leveraged, co-listing with people and creating content for them and really doing a marketing push. But that's how I got into real estate and had a great time in it. But really fell in love with the marketing side of just having a brand and having a company and branding real estate and houses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that there's another transition coming up here. So you did enjoy a certain level of success in real estate, but then you realize you really love the marketing aspect more than getting out there selling a house, right? So that kind of leads us to this point. But I'd love for everyone to know how Brand Tik was born.
Yeah, so really it was me. I was hitting my social media hard. I was leveraging my skills for co-listing with other agents and getting in front of builders and building new relationships, because at the time video was pretty youthful. Like, there was not a lot of people using video, not a lot of people using social media, but I was leveraging it to help the business that I was in of real estate. And as I was doing that, I was like, man, I really like this whole like marketing thing, the social media thing. It kind of comes natural. It's just one of those natural abilities that I'm sure everybody listening or watching has, that I didn't really know until someone, a mentor, was like, hey, like, you're really good at this branding and marketing thing. Like, you should maybe think about a career or think about monetizing your skills there. And at the time I was like, no, like, I want to sell houses, make the big bucks, like big commissions and da 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 da. But it was a seed that was planted, and I think that seed started to bring opportunities of people like, hey, like, can you help me out with marketing? Can you help me with marketing? So kind of was like, all right, well, I'm in 100% commission and I really enjoy like marketing. So I'm just going to kind of side hustle a little bit of marketing for people. And really one thing led to another. I was side hustling a few accounts and realized that there's like a business model of a marketing agency that is a little bit more scalable than being a real estate agent. So decided to stop selling real estate once I had a high volume of interest in the marketing and side hustled enough of the marketing stuff and go all in with the marketing. And really the reason why it came about was because it wasn't, I didn't wake up one day and I was like, hey, I'm gonna start a marketing company. It was just a product of solving problems because so many people kept coming to me, asking me questions. Can you help me? And I was like, I can't help you. But I just kept seeing problem of stuff that came really natural to me that I could solve. And I was like, I could probably help these people out. So that's when really Brand Tik came about. And it was just me for about the first year and just trying to figure out what the model of Brand Tik looked like, what our services are, how to run a company, had no idea how to do it. It was funny because it was like you start a business and you go get clients, but I had a bunch of clients and had to figure out like what I was doing with them or what to do. And then once we figured that out, hired some people and now we're about a team of 20. We have a 7,500 square foot office up here in Bellevue. We have a beautiful studio, 4,000 square foot studio where we serve a lot of realtors, a lot of people in the real estate business, and are serving probably around 100 plus clients every single year with social media or video or some sort of branding.
All right. So, when you say social media or video or branding to a real estate agent, sometimes those were three topics are just so overwhelming that we're like, yeah, no, I'm just going to door knock.
Yeah.
Like, never mind. I think I'm going to do some more floor time, door knock, put some door hangers out when I take a listing, whatever. Right. And then when you talk about like getting a lead through Instagram, of course, that you were able to create a lead through Instagram is huge, right? Mm-hmm. I know that every single real estate agent on Facebook Live as well as Zoom would love to know how to do that, right?
Yeah.
But there is a strategy to that. It's not like it's not just slap a post out there and then it's not fishing, right? It's not fishing in a really hungry lake. And so I'd love, and then. But one more thought is that once you get that Instagram lead, right, like converting that person into like a real client, right, there's a bit of a strategy there too, which which kind of a funnel system could help with as well. So I'd love for you to unpack a little bit about like social media and strategy and like, because I got a feeling this is where you're going to get really excited, right? Like I had you go backstory with us. But then, I can see you're raring to go on this whole social, like, people in their 50s work for us for 60s, 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, right? Yeah. So speak to the group, right, on why social media is good for all of us.
Yeah. I was just yesterday, I was at an event speaking and we were with an agent who gets 80% of his business from social media. And he's successful. He actually closes houses and he does business. It's not like he closes one house a year or two houses a year. And he's actually doing business from social media. So the reality is, firstly, is you have a brand, whether you know it or not. If you're a real estate agent, you are a brand. A brand is a perception that somebody has of you. Okay. Second reality is that people are now spending almost 3 hours a day on social media. There's no other medium that people are spending more time on than social media.
That's like a part-time job.
People are consuming it. They're scrolling through it. They're looking for news. They're looking for opportunities. So the opportunity to scale is massive there. To address the first thing, how to actually generate it is like, one, you need to be using the platform versus abusing Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, right? Like using it is, I'm going to post with intention and the intention is to provide value, which is to educate them or entertain them, right? I'm not going to follow you just because you posted your last listing. Like consumers do not care about that, right? They care about who you are, what kind of value you can provide to them as a buyer or a seller. They don't care about the last house that you sold. They care about you educating them. Okay. And then versus abusing it, which is I'm going to post my last listing. I'm going to like post my cat, my account's on private. Like I never post. Like that's what you don't want to do. Another way that you can use it is use it to interact with your customers. I mean, Instagram is now a business card where people are going to creep on people like whoever they are, right? So if I'm not posting, or if I'm going on your Instagram and it's like weird stuff or just your past listings, like people are going to your social media. 80% of people are doing research before using a product or service, and likely they're going to go to your Instagram to check you out. So another thing that you can do is use it to farm. So the beauty about Instagram is you can go on Instagram and I can go to the location of Del Mar, California, and I can see everybody that's posted in Del Mar, California. And what I can do is I can start liking their photos. I can comment, love that restaurant. Your dog is so cute. Like there's hundreds of posts, probably thousands of posts, hashtag Del Mar, hashtag La Jolla, hashtag whatever your target market is. You do that for an hour a day, guarantee people are going to then hit on your page, see what you do, assuming that you're providing value to them, and click follow. Okay. So how you magnetize people, because this is the scale. I mean, you do that, you can avoid getting coffee with a bunch of random people. You can avoid knocking on doors. You just commented on 100 people's posts every single day. Imagine doing that. Like that's way easier than going on knocking on 100 people's doors. Like there's a study done that said receiving a like on Instagram is similar to a drug hit. So if I'm giving out drug hits to people are posting on Instagram to be edified. So if I'm edifying them from my real estate account, it's like, boom, then I'm providing value to them. I'm not asking them to list their house. I'm not telling them I'm in real estate. I'm just edifying them. And naturally they're going to go to your page. If you're providing value, if you're talking about the market, if you're showing like what's trending, if you're like giving educational tips, whatever that is, then they're going to follow you. Then they're going to ask you questions. And then that's how you funnel them down to an actual sale.
You know, that is really, really, I mean, the edification kind of concept and the tantamount to a drug hit concept of a like, you know, someone was empathizing with the employees that lost their job from Zillow, you know, and saying, listen, you know, hey, real estate agents, also 500 people lost their job. You know what I mean? Let's, you know, I think there needs to be some empathy for people that lost their job when Zillow changed their iBuyer program or shuttered their iBuyer program. And I liked his sentiment because I thought, you know, there is that kind of humanity aspect that he was seeing through the clouds. And I liked it. I liked his post. And he's a real estate agent up in the Seattle area. That guy responded back to me, and I don't know him, and he's not a friend, right? Like a friend. And he responded within 60 seconds, right? Instantly responded back. And I thought, okay, that was, I mean, if I wanted to have a power partner relationship with this agent or whatever, we're off to the races, right? You can, I learned this from Park Bench. Park Bench, I had mentioned to you yesterday. But if you wanted to interview a business owner in Del Mar, like for example, Del Mar, you literally can just type in, right, Del Mar within Facebook or Instagram, and it just is served up to you, right? You can type in the groups, right? You can kind of find those groups or pages, if you will. And then you can be in the heart of it instantly, right? Way quicker than you could be by picking a neighborhood and knocking on a bunch of doors. Now, hey, if you've got a listing in a neighborhood, there's a whole lot of neighbors around that listing that would love nothing more than to sell for top dollar with multiple offers, and they'd like to be in the know, right? So I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying there's some strategy involved with social media now that what you're talking about is hyper local and hyper relevant, right? So, and when you do that, when you like someone's post, or when you say, like, I thought you said your daughter's cute, you said your dog's cute, right? When you do when you do those things, right, you're not a stalker, right, Austin? That's not viewed as a stalker, right? That's viewed as someone that's especially on those pages, right?
Yeah.
Where you're going in there and responding to pages and whatnot. I mean, there is stalker stuff where, you're responding to someone's picture that they posted in 2016, where you had to go like deep to get to it, right? That's a stalker, right? You don't do that, right? So there's a group of people who are like, I don't want to be a stalker. And you're not saying be a stalker. So I want to cover that.
Yeah, I think the realization is that, like, think about the reasons people post on social media and use the hashtags that you'd be looking for. It's to get edified. It's to get likes. It's to get, they're posting for attention. Like, that's really the root, whether we admit it or not, of why we're posting on social media. It's because we want to show off. We want to share what we're doing, whatever it is. And if we're just giving them a like, especially on Instagram, that's edifying them. And then if we're then posting content, they're going to go to your page and they're going to say, wow, this person is an expert in what they're doing. Like, and I love what, like, I also am interested in the real estate market because that's a massive thing.
Yeah.
Boom. Like, I do it all the time for my business too. It's like, I have the ability to go to businesses on Instagram and start interacting with them and engage with them and say, love your content. And then they'll see ours, and then conversation happens.
Right.
And it makes it just warms it up,
Right.
So
that's great. Now, hey, define edifying and define edification for those out there that are like, I don't exactly get that word. How would you define it?
Like, you're pumping them up, like you're making them feel good. Like, I'm edifying you, James, man, your hair looks good today. Love your glasses.
It does, doesn't it?
That jacket is awesome. That's me edifying you. So as long as we have a positive comment, like, we want to spread more positivity, hopefully, as humans. And if we can go on Instagram and compliment people and make people feel good, like, what a great way to do that at a size, scope, and scale as social media.
So you're not stroking them, you're edifying. There's a very much a difference there in terms of approach. It's a caring for one another approach, right? And so you're liking stuff you genuinely like.
Sure. Yep. Exactly. You got to be careful because it can be a wild west there.
Yeah.
A lot of the times on social media.
And by the way, Austin, I pick guys with awesome hair, right? Just because the contrast is so, because this is the new hair. I don't know if you know this, but this is the new hair.
Looks good.
So, yeah, this is where it's at.
Easier to maintain.
Yeah, but okay. So you talked about kind of the edification part of it, but okay, yeah. Then they click on you. They're like, huh, who's this person? Who's this? I like to pick on Ellen. Who's this Ellen who liked my stuff, right? Like, oh, wow, Ellen had like something. Carl clicked on this thing and said, you're a rock star, whatever, right? And then they come to you and see what you're up to, right? Now that's maybe where you play a role, right? On that kind of social media aspect and helping agents in that area. Talk to us about that.
100%. So like when somebody hits on your page, that, like I said, alluded to it earlier, that is your new business card. That's your first impression. Like, people are going to scroll through it and kind of see what you're up to. If there's no mention of value to people, or you're not providing value in any way, there's going to be no reason for them to follow, which is going to give them no reason to actually potentially reach out. So I think what's really important, and we get this all the time, it's like, what is my brand? What the heck do I post? Like, how do I figure this out? So if you're listening or watching right now, this is a good time to take some notes, because I'll just we'll debunk it and kind of give you a direction at least, so you can start. So what we do a lot is we do this quick exercise. So what we have them do, whether it's a realtor or a business or whatever we're working with, it's defining the pillars of who I am. So what we do, and maybe James, we can just role play a little bit. We want to write down 10 facts about ourselves on a piece of paper or type it out. So, I live in Bellevue. I love marketing. I love coffee. I love my family. I have a golden doodle. I love fitness, whatever that is. We just write 10 facts. So after we have the 10 facts written out, what we do with those is we pick 5, the top 5 that we want to be remembered for. Because this is all true. These are facts about ourselves. This is who we are, right? We're more than just
So
a real estate agent.
out of the
Yep.
10, pick 5.
Yep, because and there'll be some, like, I'm a realtor, I love coffee, I'm a golden doodle person. And these are things that are true about myself, right? Because we want to be authentic in our brand. We're more than just realtors. We're more than what we do. We're human beings, not human doings. So of the 10, you'll have 5. And those 5 that you circle or bold or underline, that's your brand. So mine, for instance, that's going to be my faith. It's going to be fitness. It's going to be marketing. It's going to be my fiance. It's going to be travel, right? So I know those are.
Golden Doodle took a back seat.
I don't have a golden doodle. That's just an example.
But I'm just saying, in that example, it's like,
for sure.
I mean, I'm going to pick faith over golden doodle.
100%. Because that's what I want to be remembered for. Right.
So you're distilling down. Got it.
Yep. The top 5. And that's what goes in your Instagram profile. That's what goes, faith, fitness, marketing, whatever. And from there, you're able to really just create a pillar of your brand, right? So if I know I love marketing, fitness, faith, right? Now I just need to figure out how I can communicate that in an authentic way in a consistent manner. So for instance, like, it should be like a rule of thirds. If I'm a realtor and maybe I'm a realtor and I'll just use the same ones. Okay, I'm going to post something like work related. I'm going to post something work related. Maybe it's a video of me talking about the market. Then I'm going to post something about, fitness. Then I'm going to post something about this awesome house that I just toured. Then I'm going to post something about this coffee shop that I just tried out because I love coffee. And then just come up with a sequence for yourself. And that's really an authentic way to create a brand and give people something to follow for, and also magnetize clients in that are also interested in the same thing. We just worked with a client who's a realtor, actually, and he has a golden doodle, and he connects really well with other golden doodle owners. So we did some strategies to help him connect with them, and got a lead literally because he was a golden doodle owner. He's like, I really want someone who can relate, because the buyer was also a golden doodle owner. So it will magnetize people into you, people that you want to work with, people that can relate, because people work with you. They don't work with Windermere. They don't work with, your last sale. They work with you as a person.
What I love about the distilling down and then creating strategy around those 5 is that it orders your kind of approach to social media, but it also has you in front of other people that are interested in the same things that you have defined yourself as interested in, right? So obviously, if you're you might interview a coffee shop, right? You're going to obviously be interviewing a coffee shop that you like, right? So now all of a sudden, when you create that interview opportunity, right, whether it be on social media or whatever, a video that you post, you literally have expanded your sphere of people that are interested in what you're interested in. And it's an extension of you. So I think the reminder here is that social media activities becomes an extension of who you already are in a relevant way, right? That isn't disingenuous, right? For those who are also interested in the same thing. So it's where you get in trouble is posting things that are not actually in line with you, almost as shock factor to get interest, right? Sure. That's where the problem, kind of creeps up. So I love that, distilling it down to 5, posting that, letting that guide your strategy.
For sure. I mean, people buy on emotion, not logic.
Yeah.
If there's a connection point with a potential consumer, then that's going to make it way more easy to bridge the gap of them reaching out or feeling comfortable reaching out to you. Yeah. And I mean, video is just like a whole nother beast, but like the element of video too is massive in the real estate business right now, and just in business in general, to really double click on the fact that people are buying on emotion, not logic. They need to connect with you. There needs to be that connection point. So
just this morning, And I think I'm friends with 5,500 real estate agents on LinkedIn. A friend of mine, real estate agent, posted his listing he sold. And you had mentioned, well, that's not going to excite me. But here's why I clicked on the video. He explained that every house that he sells has a story. And he wanted, now that it's closed, he wanted to share a little bit of that story. So then I clicked on the video, real simple video, less than a minute. And it basically shared the story that the buyer's process that was in words on the, on the screen, showed the buyers, showed them driving around, showed them, looking at houses, showed them falling, sitting on the couch in the house that they, loved, showed that it said that they were one of, 2 offers or whatever, and that it took 2 days to negotiate. And then it showed them holding the, the sold sign or whatever, right in front of the house with the keys. That was interesting for me to watch. I don't know why. I mean, this is like we do, like, for example, here at Windermere Homes and Estates, we do 2,600 of those a year. And yet I sat through a full minute, right? I was like, I love this whole story thing, right? So I'm transitioning. And I'm transitioning into video. And I've been saying it's video everything as long as I've been in this company. And I've said it before this company, because it is video everything. And there's so many of us that just don't want to get in front of a camera for one reason or another, primarily because we're basically perfectionists and it's never perfect enough. But break that down. Talk to us about imperfect video and the value of that, right? Talk to us about story and talk to us about how that could create a connection like none other.
Yeah, I think the first thing is like the getting over the perfect for sure. I mean, one, like a cool stat or interesting stat that make you feel better is people are watching 14 videos every single minute on TikTok and Reels.
Yeah, good, boom, right? They're 30 seconds.
They're doing this. They're going boom, boom,
I
boom.
did it this morning. That's why I watched that video.
100%. Like you stop, like you got to find a scroll stopper. Like it's
addictive. It's a problem.
Yeah, 100%. The reality is the person who's watching is not going to pause on your video. They're not going to zoom in on your hair and be like, oh, wow. Maria, wow, yeah. She did her makeup.
Austin, give me a break. Look at that hair.
Wow. What is wrong with her? Cannot believe she. Right. And if there is
because they're going like this.
100%. And if there is people that are doing that, do you want to work with them? Is that your ideal client? You want to work with people who are celebrating you, who are pumping you up, who are excited, who look for the information. So I think that's the one debunk. And the two for video. I mean, why did Kim Kardashian just become a billionaire recently? Reality TV, right?
Yeah.
Why is TV, like, why are these HGTV shows so freaking popular and coming out like every single week? Yeah. Reality TV, people want to see behind the scenes. People want to see video, real, right? So the value of video is to connect with consumers, to show what you're doing. Again, people buy on emotion, not logic. Like you're bridging a connection point that then magnetizes people to you. So I think the whole perfectionism thing, it's a product of, you just need to do it and get over it. And over time you'll get better. Just like you weren't good the first time you listed a house, just like you weren't good the first time you wrote a contract for a buyer. You're not going to be good the first time you do a video. It's going to take time, practice, but there's a formula to it depending on the types of videos, but it's going to take some reps and it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. But what's on the other side of that is way more beneficial for your business than probably the fear right now.
Well, there is, I think, even in when I started this show a couple of years ago, with this company and another, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. to work on my questions, and then I would get into these, shows and be so nervous about it. I want to start over and, all that kind of stuff. And then I realized that there is so much actually power in vulnerability. So if you mess up or something and you just say it, right, that's really, really powerful. And when you just launch into it, people just want to see the real aspect of you, right? Like, oh, I don't know why I said that kind of statements, right? Like, or, even you like, like not exactly able to say golden doodle or whatever, right? Like, I mean, that is funny, right? Like all of a sudden that becomes like the most awesome thing. And so I think that there's just the vulnerability aspect of video is also what we're all looking for. It's like, oh, that person's real, right? Or whatever, right? So is there a slam dunk video that everyone in our company could do like today? Or is there a challenge? Like open up your phone, click on Facebook Live or whatever you call it on the Instagram, right? And if you just did this for 30 seconds, not minutes, right? Is there a slam dunk topic or a slam dunk, like what could everyone do? And then I'd love to have someone report back and go, dude, I got a listing on that. What's your thoughts?
So many. I think the easiest low hanging fruit is what I call like a blog revamp, where if I know my target customers are first-time homebuyers, then I'm going to make a video for first-time homebuyers. I'm going to give them some tips. Okay. So all I need to do is go on Google and type in first-time homebuyer tips, and then sort through the 6 million blogs that are first-time homebuyer tips. And then I need to pick what the 2 to 3 tips are that I want to get for a learning outcome, and then film that. But the formula of a good video, and I'm going to use Instagram Reels, for instance, because I think that's a massive opportunity right now is Instagram Reels, because it's the newest product from Instagram, and they want to obviously drive traffic to it and make it get more viewers. They're now paying people to do Instagram Reels, and Instagram's talking about being a video only platform. If I was a realtor right now, I would find my tips. So let's just use an example of first-time home buyers. 2 tips for first-time home buyers. I would go to Instagram Reels. The format is this. So hook. So we talked about earlier how people are watching 14 videos every single minute.
So hook's got to be quick. Yeah, it's got to be straight.
You got it. Brendan Kane wrote a book about how he went from 0 to 1 million followers, and it's all about the hook. It's what's going to scroll stop. It's what's going to do it. So rather than saying, "Hi,
I'm James."
Yeah, hi, I'm Austin, and I'm going to give you 3 tips for I'm going to say, if you're a first-time home buyer, watch this video. And if I'm a first-time home buyer, I'm going to watch that video. If you're thinking about buying a house for the first time, watch it. Here are 3 tips if you're a first-time home buyer. Boom, that stops me in my tracks if I'm a first-time home buyer, right? If I'm like, hey, I'm Austin, next, right? So the hook. So really think about the hook. And then you got to have the content, which is the story and the learning outcome. So if you're a first-time home buyer, watch this. Here are 2 tips to become, like, tip number 1, XYZ, tip number 2, boom, boom, boom. And then call to action. So hook, learning outcome, call to action. Call to action could be read the caption. It could be click the link in my bio, whatever that is. But if you do that formula for a blog revamp to your target customer, if you do that once a week, twice a week, then I'm guaranteeing, not guaranteeing, but I am very confident that as you are continuing to talk to your consumer over time, a consumer is going to reach out to you on Instagram and say, I saw this video and have some questions about a first-time homebuyer tip that you talked about, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, Austin,
other easy ones are
but when you do that on your Instagram or your Facebook, that's just going to your friends, right? What's a way to make it go out to others?
Well, you hashtag, right? Like you hashtag, okay. and as long as you're hashtagging and you're getting seen by a lot of people, like
can you make
some
yourself,
of my videos,
if you got to change your settings though, so they can see it.
Well, you just need to make sure your profile is public.
Okay.
And then
the profile public, is that just
the hashtags,
standard deal?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you
profile
add the hashtags.
Public hashtag.
And that's, yeah. I mean,
okay. Let's go into this hashtag thing.
Yeah.
I just said first, what is that hashtag first time home buyers? I mean, do I just make it up or do I go look at a list? Like, how do I do that?
Yeah, I would just have like a note section in your phone. And then how I do it was I'll do like a few broad ones, which are like, 10 million plus posts on that hashtag. So like real estate, there's 60 million posts.
Yeah.
But maybe like Del Mar real estate might have a couple thousand. And then maybe it's like neighborhood real estate might have, like whatever that neighborhood is, might be even less. So you want some highly broad ones, some sort of broad ones, and then some really specific hashtags. I think you can add up to 25 or 30. So maybe it's like 7 broad ones, 7 kind of specific ones. Maybe it's just like San Diego or Del Mar or neighborhood specific, and then the very, very specific ones. And then just make it relevant and contextual to your content. And then that should do pretty well for you.
Okay, so people don't need to go and look at the look at what the hashtag has in it or whatever, right? You can just create hashtags, right?
For sure.
Okay.
As long as it can just make it contextual to your video. I mean, if you're talking about first-time home buyer, then it could be first-time home buyer tips, Del Mar first-time home buyer, San Diego first-time home buyer, La Jolla first-time home buyer, like whatever that is. And then those are probably more specific. And then maybe someone searching specifically for that will find you. And then you'll have greater relevancy with that.
I love that. All right. Well, we have a few questions out on Facebook and Zoom. Melissa, Sierra, April, what do you got for us?
I can ask them if they're not available. The first question we had was, what would you say to agents who are hesitant in investing in their marketing and branding?
Oh man. I think the easiest way to, agents and people who are in real estate, like they are a brand. Like once you start looking at yourself as a business and a brand, like how would Microsoft, how would Apple, like how would the small business down the corner, like, do you think they're investing in their marketing? How would a company invest in their marketing or do their marketing? And I think it might be hard to start because it does take time, especially with social media. Like it's not an overnight thing. I just think realizing that, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner. And as a business owner, I need to invest and plant the seed of marketing and trust that over time, due to successes, and as long as I'm doing it right, that there will be an outcome from it. But it's hard to convince. I think just hearing other people's successes in it and having a confident strategy is going to help people actually move forward with it.
Great. Any other questions? Melissa, Sierra, thanks, Kelsey.
Another one we had was agents working with different clients, like a marketing agency does. What are some of your tips for focusing on clients with different needs while they're working all at once together?
So repeat the question one more time.
So agents work with different clients as you do in marketing. What is your advice for these agents that work with clients with different needs at once? Like if they are working with maybe first-time home buyers, but also downsizers and stuff like that? Yeah, I guess just the difference or how you compartmentalize clients with different needs. Yeah, I mean, the reality is you can't be everything to everyone. So I would just kind of define what those pillars are, like what we talked about earlier, and figure out who you want to talk to. In Nishan, I mean, we want to sell every single house that comes across our table, but we want to speak to a specific audience. So I think maybe just making it tied into one of your pillars. And if the person who asked the question wants to talk offline, maybe we could dissect it a little bit. But I think it would be important to find a niche. And if there's multiple niches, I don't feel like that's a niche. You need a niche and you need to go after it.
Yeah. So how about a niche and a sub niche?
Sure. Totally.
but not all things to all people, right?
Totally. I mean, that just confuses people.
Yeah.
And kind of dilutes the fact of what you are actually doing.
Right. All right.
I have a question from an agent. Sorry, James.
Yeah.
So a lot of our agents have been in the business for a while now, and they've had pre-branded and have built their business as a business, right? Just exactly like you said. But when do you feel, or what advice do you have for those agents who are going through a transitional phase, right? We know the evolution of our market is constantly changing. Marketing is constantly changing. Do you have any advice when it comes to branding and growing pains, and when to know when to transition and to build a better brand than what they started with?
Like to move on from the last brand that they had.
Correct.
And to evolve into maybe a new branding look and the brand identity or whatever it is.
Correct. Any advice on that?
I think it's like up to the discernment of, themselves, if they feel outdated and if they're unhappy with their logo and whatever they have going on, then that's a great time to do it. I think leveraging marketing teams at companies are going to be able to provide valuable opinions, running it by other people and seeing if the brand aligns with their current production or their current look and the current way that they do business. But I mean, we do a lot of rebranding at Brand Tik with clients with like new logos and new brand identities and new messaging for the clients. And that's probably, I would say, like every 5 to 10 years, we'll see a client do a rebrand, or they'll come to us and say the last time was 5 to 10 years ago.
Gotcha. And then we have a question from another agent, Sherry, who's asking about how do you create hashtags specifically to them, to make them stand out, to make them known?
Hashtag Sherry sells San Diego. There you go. You could create your own like little niche hashtag if you wanted to. If there's a specific neighborhood that you work in, you could use that. But as long as you're marketing it so people know that they can go to it. So if you're posting, or if maybe you have it in your bio or something along those lines so people can actually find it. But hashtags are kind of our free market, and you can use as many as you want and however you want to use them. But if you want to create one specific for your brand, then just create it, but make sure you're marketing it and using it.
Love that. Any other questions out there?
No, I think that's it. Thank you, Austin, for all those answers.
Yeah.
Of course.
April's our marketing director. She was all ears, I'm sure. Love the whole 10 becomes 5 and then make that the strategy. Austin, how does our group find out more about you? And I want to give you a little opportunity there to do a little commercial though, because you're providing great value for agents.
Yeah, I mean, if they have any questions just about what we talked about, best way to find me is just on Instagram. It's probably where I spend the most time and more reachable at Austin R. Schneider. From there, you can kind of check out Brand Tik, which is the marketing agency that we have. We do a lot of social management. We do a lot of video production. We do a lot of brand redesign. You name it. We have a pretty extensive team that can do it. And we also have a studio, Brand Tik Studios, where we do a ton of video marketing. So kind of like what we talked about earlier with the short Instagram reels, we're doing more and more of those. So we're having more people fly up to us and then knocking out a day's worth of content, which lasts a few months, that they can then use on their social, and it's pretty much done for you. So you guys can check those out as well from my Instagram. And then honestly, if you guys have any questions, happy to go back and forth on Instagram or wherever and see how I can provide value.
Also, Austin and I met yesterday about a kind of a secret project he's working on that we might be able to beta as a company, as an opportunity for each of you out there to dip your big toe into social media if you haven't yet thus far. So keep your ears out for that because it's coming up. He's in the early stages, but I'm really excited what I saw. And I'd love for all of you to be able to play a part in the development of that from a beta standpoint. Yeah. Thanks, Austin, for that offer.
You bet. That'll be fun.
So on behalf of Windermere Homes and Estates, Rich Johnson, our president and owner, all of our agents, some 500 agents working with 2,600 different clients, literally $2 billion worth of sales on every year, $39 million in commissions paid out. I just want to thank all of you for joining us today on a Friday. Lumberjack here, Austin, right? In the house. Thank you.
You know you're from Seattle when you have one of these. So
exactly. Yeah, no, I own one. But Austin, thanks so much for joining us today, for your upbeat inspiration, interesting backstory. Young kid like you, I'm sorry, I'm calling you a kid, man, but young kid like you starting a company with 20 employees, give me a break. Like, crazy. Oh my gosh, right? Like, I don't even know how you sleep, right? There's the 7,500 square foot location, 4,000 square foot video studio, helping crazy people like us in this business be better, be more relevant, be more true. So I really appreciate your time today, and we hope to be in connection with you in the future.
Yeah. And again, let me know how I can help anybody who's listening or watching.
Yeah.
Ping me on Instagram. We can go back and forth.
All right. Well, hey, everyone, if you want to raise, what do? Sell a house.